and welcome back for yoga this time. So I did a hard workout this morning of plyo, and then Chris did his modified workout already this morning, and then he did his young athletes workout as well after that. And now I am here to do yoga with you for right now. This is going to be a relatively harder, it's not hard, it's a harder than the stretch and strength yoga that we did last week, or at the beginning of the week. Yesterday? Well, no, anyways, the point is that this is going to be a Vinyasa flow. So there's going to be some more chaturangas, there's going to be some more standing poses, some peak poses, some more using of your muscles to get us involved, to get you in and out of the poses. The flow that I'm going to be doing in between our peak poses is going to basically be plank, chaturanga, plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog, standing, forward fold, back to a plank, and then back into a down dog. So anytime when I say let's go into a flow, you can either flow with me or just push back into a child's pose or push up into a down dog and wait for us to make our way into that down dog position again and just meet us there. Yeah, so this will be a fun little yoga session. We've got a few minutes before we start, so just find your way onto the mat. Maybe you want to get some water, maybe you want to get something else. So this one is all about basically the lower back and the hips. So this is a back strengthener and a hip opener, and that's what all of our poses are for today basically. There's a lot of side stretches as well, so it's all about opening the spine, helping you to strengthen your back. So that you can do all these poses, you can do all the workouts, and yeah, just feel good about yourself. So yeah, find your way up to the mat if you're not there yet, and I'll meet you there, right here. We have a few minutes still left to go, so, or one more minute, so let's just hang out and relax here. Just take your time. I'm gonna drink some more water myself, because I've got water here. So I'll try to be talking the whole time, just to keep it interesting and keep it going and keep everyone, focused on what we're doing. But of course, yoga is relatively slow. It's slower. So also at any point, if I'm going too fast, you can just stop and you can pause the video, pause whatever you need, and we'll be good to go. All right, so here we go at first. So let's find our way into a child's pose to start with. All right, so placing your hips over your heels, your chest onto your thighs, your arms reaching out in front of you, maybe your head down towards the mat. Also, I may be in weird positions, so if you can't hear me, just watch what I'm doing, and we'll be good to go. But just release and relax into this pose. Feel the earth beneath your body. Feel your body just melting into the mat, melting into yourself. Just feel everything here. Take a few big breaths in and out, just relaxing and getting into this pose. And then let's slowly walk our hands over and off to the left side of our body. And reach your arms out here, maybe placing your head back down on the mat again, and just feel the stretch in the side of your body. Still releasing and relaxing into the ground, feeling the earth beneath you. And then after a couple more breaths, let's find a way off to the center with our hands, and then walk them over and off to the right side of our body. Really feeling the stretch in the side of our body, releasing and relaxing into the ground, feeling the earth beneath you. Feeling the stretch on the side of your body as well. And a couple more big breaths here. And then we'll walk our hands back to the center of the mat. And release and relax again one more time into a child's pose. Head down towards the mat, body just feeling the earth beneath you. And then making your way up into a tabletop pose next. Tabletop. Stacking your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your ankles. Let's come into a cat-cow flow. So flowing into our cow first. Opening our chest towards the sky, our tailbone comes up towards the sky, our spine goes down into our belly button. And big inhale as you round into a cat pose, bringing your chin into your chest, rounding your tailbone down, and your belly button up into your spine. And then exhale as you round back down again. And with your own breath, maybe inhale again for your cat pose. And then exhale for your cow pose. And let's just flow through your cat and cow maybe 3 more times. And again, up to cat. And back down into cow pose. Really just opening your spine, opening up your back, getting your shoulders opened as well. And then find your way back into a stable tabletop pose here. So with our spine straight, our tailbone out towards the back of the room. Let's go ahead and lift our right arm in the air. And then our left leg behind us, finding a stability, our tabletop pose here. Getting our arm parallel to the ground and our leg parallel to the ground with a little bend in our ankle. And take a few breaths here, getting more stable with every breath. Maybe one more big breath in, and a big breath out. And drop that hand down to the mat, and that knee down to the mat. And let's do our other side here. So lifting up your left arm in the air, and your right leg behind you, and with a bent ankle. Find stability here. Getting more stable with every breath. If you have to find something that's not moving to focus on to find stability, do that. Maybe 2 more big breaths. And lower your hand down to the mat and your knee back down to the mat as well. Alright, now still in tabletop pose here. Let's come in for a side stretch, for an abductor stretch. So we're going to bring our right leg out to the side here. And so you can have either the bottom of your foot on the ground or the side of your foot on the ground. Having the bottom of your foot on the ground makes that stretch more intense than if it was just the side of your foot. And then still breathing here. If you want to make that stretch even more intense, you can push back into a little bit of a child's pose, bringing your hips back down towards your heel, and you should feel that stretch intensify. And then if you want to bring your whole chest down, just as far down as you want to go, as far down as your body will let you. So listen to your body. Maybe 2 more breaths here. And then find your way back up again into our tabletop pose. Once again, if I'm going too quick for anyone and anyone wants to stay in any of these poses, go ahead. Please just pause the video and you can stay in that pose. All right, here we go again onto our left side of the body. So bringing your left leg out to the side. You can have either the bottom of your foot on the ground or the side of your foot on the ground. Once again, whatever feels good for you. Trying to keep our hip over our knee though at first. And then to intensify the stretch yet again, we can push back our hip towards our heel. Still in line though with that leg. And then we'll drop down our chest down towards the ground. And take a few more breaths here. Just getting deeper into this pose with every breath. Listening to your body and feeling how you can go. Find your way back into that tabletop pose. Push up if you were down. Bring that leg back into the side. We're going to come in for our first back bend stretch. So in tabletop pose, just slowly lower your chest down towards the ground. So we're going to bend our spine here, rounding it backward, rounding it down. And then once we're down here, maybe your chest comes down towards the ground. If this is where you want to stay, you can stay here. This is puppy dog pose. Right, if you wish to go down any further, you can go down as far as you can, as far as your body lets you. Rounding your spine, Let's try not to have any hinge in the spine though. You don't want to be just hinged at one place. You want to have the round flow from the top to the bottom. Alright, and let's slowly make our way back up into our tabletop pose again. So lifting your chest up towards the sky. Tabletop, perfect. And let's push back into a child's pose again. So hips down towards your heels and chest on your thigh, reaching out in front of you. And just 2 breaths here, and we're going to push forward. We're coming into our first flow. So here we go into a plank position. Popping up, stacking your shoulders over your wrists. So this first flow, we're going to go really slow, just so I can explain everything. So as we come down into a chaturanga, our elbows are coming into our sides. All right, stacking all the way down. Our chest lowers down slowly, and then once we reach the ground, we'll come into a cobra pose. So lifting our chest up towards the sky. Still rounding in the spine, 1 round. We don't want to hinge anywhere. And then you can either lower down or just with our toes curled, push your hips back towards the sky for a downward facing dog. Since this is our first downward facing dog of the day, let's sit here and pedal our heels out a little bit. Get this stretch in our hamstrings going on. Have our upper back is broad and open. Our shoulders are away from our ears. Our shoulder blades are up and down, or up the back from this angle. Perfect. And then from here, we're going to bend our knees a little bit and then walk our hands towards our feet and roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Coming into a standing mountain pose. So we want to be ground down in all 4 corners of our feet for the mountain pose. Our shoulder blades down our back, our shoulders still away from our ears. Engage the core. Let's go ahead and fan our arms up. And then hinging at the hips, we're going to swan dive with a flat back down into a forward fold. Alright, then since this is our first forward fold of the day as well, let's go ahead and grab our arms from either side and just swing slowly from side to side, kind of getting deeper and down closer to the earth with every swing. If you need to have a little bend in your knees, please have that bend in your knees. You don't want to overextend your knees, because it's the opposite of what we want. So down. Perfect. Now, since we're down here, let's just go ahead and place our hands on the mat and walk out to a plank. Dropping our knees down if you wish, or you can just... Oh wait, we're here. Plank. Let's come do the chaturanga again though. Our flow 1 more time. This time we're going a little bit quicker. So let's go chaturanga down to an up dog or cobra. And then push back into a down dog. And then we'll walk our hands all the way to standing. Rolling up 1 vertebrae at a time. And once we're here in mountain, we'll go ahead and fan our arms up. And then swan dive into a forward fold. Place our hands back down on the mat again and walk them out to a plank. And then push back into a down dog. Alright, that was the flow. We did that flow 2 times. So if you ever just don't want to do the flow, you can just stay in down dog or stay in child's pose and meet me in down dog. Alright, from here, let's come into a low lunge. So let's sweep your right leg through in between our hands. And then we'll place that knee down and uncurl that back toe. Alright, so stacking your knee over your ankle, right? You should be feeling it a little bit here in this quad, a little bit of stretch here. And then we'll lift up our torso, straight spine at first, but then let's come into a little back bend. So raising our arms up in the air and then slightly backwards. We'll take a couple breaths here. We'll be doing this one a few times. And let's lower our arms back down towards the mat again. Curl that back toe and push back up into a plank. And we're just going to switch sides here real quick. So let's bring our left leg through, coming in between our hands, stacking that knee over that ankle, drop that back knee down and uncurl that back toe. Perfect. Raising our spine up, our torso up, bringing our arms up towards the sky, and then coming into a slight back bend. Taking a few breaths here. And then we'll lower our arms back down towards the mat again, curling that back toe, lifting that knee up off the ground and pushing that foot back. And we're planking and then downward facing dogging. Downward dog. All right. And let's come in for our first real peak pose. So sweeping your right leg through, coming in between our hands here. We're coming into a high lunge, so stacking that knee over that ankle. We're on the ball of our back foot, lifting that up. So this is stacked, and then you're trying to stack your hip over this knee as well. Of course, go to your abilities. All right, and then once we're here and we're stable, let's lift our arms up in the air. And let's take a few breaths here, just getting more stable with every breath. Keeping our shoulder blades back and down away from our, back and down. Keeping our shoulders away from our ears. And then let's come into warrior two. So let's place our hands maybe down on our thigh first. Then this back heel is gonna come down onto the ground. The back heel is on the ground, front heel is in line with the arch of our foot. Our knee is still stacked over that ankle, and our hips are open to the side of the room. Then coming into a warrior two, our arms come up and parallel to the ground, and we gaze off at our front fingertip. Let's also tailbone tucks under, and let's take a few breaths here, getting more stable with every breath. And then let's come into a reverse warrior. So let's that back hand down our back leg and our other arm up and over, framing our ear with our bicep and opening our chest towards the sky. Still find stability here, so let's take a few breaths, and with every breath, be more stable. Perfect, and let's come into an extended side angle. So our forearm comes down to our thigh, and we lift our back arm up and over, framing our ear with our bicep on the other side, opening our chest towards the sky as well, and taking a few more breaths here, still trying to find stability. Our feet haven't moved, they've stayed in the same place, hopefully. Let's come in for another reverse warrior. We'll do a couple of these. Back again, opening our chest towards the sky. Front knee is stacked over that ankle. And we'll pop back up again. All right, and then warrior two at first, but this is more of a transitional move. So let's straighten our front leg and hinging at the hips. We're coming into a triangle pose. So forward and then down. So if you have a block, that would be awesome to have right now. If you don't have a block, like I don't, you can just stay as so. You can also use your leg for stability as well, if that feels good for you. You can't go down quite as far. All right, and let's pop back up again into a warrior two. Straighten that front leg, and then come back into a reverse warrior, the last one. So on this side. Let's take a few more breaths here. You should be really, really good at this reverse warrior now. It's the third time we've done it on this side. Perfect. And then we're coming back into a high lunge again. So let's place our foot on the ball of our foot, bending that back knee. Our hips are now facing towards the front of the room. All right, finding our stability. We'll raise our arms up in the air, shoulders away from the ear, shoulder blades are down the back. Perfect, and then let's drop down. And let's come into our flow again. So push into a plank, chaturanga down to an up dog. Once again, if you don't want to do this, you can just push back. Then down dog, and then walk your hands all the way to standing, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. And then let's forward fold, so fanning up and hinging at the hips as we swan dive down into a forward fold. And then placing our hands on the mat, we'll walk back out again. to a plank, and then push back into a down dog. And let's go through our peak flow again on the other side. So raising that left leg up, bringing that in between your hands. If you need to find some other way to get there, definitely go ahead. And high lunge at first. So on the ball of that back foot, bending that back knee. So lift up. Awesome. So spine is straight, knee is stacked over ankle, hip is as much over that bent knee as possible, and then raising our arms up in the air, finding stability here. Let's take a few really big breaths. Let's find our way into a warrior two position. So heel down, our heel is in line with the arch of our back foot. That knee is stacked over that ankle. Our tailbone is tucked under. Our spine is straight, core engaged, arms up and parallel to the ground. We'll take a few breaths here, gazing at the front fingertip. Getting more stable with every breath. Alright, perfect. And then pushing back into a reverse warrior. Our hand will go down the back leg as your other arm comes up and over, framing the ear with a bicep. Opening the chest towards the sky and taking a few breaths here. Coming into an extended side angle. Let's bring our arm down to our thigh and lift the other arm up and over, opening the chest towards the sky on the other side. And take a few more breaths here, finding stability with every breath. And then again into our reverse warrior. Hand goes down our back leg, the other arm comes up and over, opening our chest towards the sky. Just a few more breaths here. And then we'll push back into a warrior two. But this is the transition move. So here, straighten that front leg and then hinge at the hips forward and then down. And then once again, if you had a block, that would be perfect. But I don't. So you can use your shin or the ground. And a few more breaths here. This position, stacking your shoulder as much on top of your other as you can. And then finding our way back up again. Warrior two at first, and then reverse warrior one more time. So once again, you should be real good at this reverse warrior on this side. It's the third one on this side. Sixth one total today. Lots of reverse warriors. Alright, and then from here, let's find our way into our high lunge again. So lift that heel up off the ground on the ball of our foot, and just fix that back foot as much as you need. Bending that knee, stacking this over, stacking that over that, and lifting our arms up in the air, shoulders away from the ears. And take a few more breaths here. Alright, let's come into a chaturanga, or into our flow again. So push back into a plank, chaturanga all the way down to an up dog. And then push back into a down dog. And then walk your hands all the way to standing. And roll up one vertebrae at a time. And then we'll fan up and forward folds, hinging at the hips. And then hands on the ground and walk back out again for a plank. And then push back into a down dog. Alright, once again, let's just walk our hands all the way to standing. We have some side stretches that we're doing next. So here we go. Stand your feet about 3 to 5 feet apart from each other. And then we'll hinge at the hips and forward folds. And release into this forward fold. Maybe you want to grab your arms, swing side to side. Alright, hang out there, keep doing that for a little bit. Keep going, got it guys. Doing great, I'm sure. Perfect. So still forward folded. And from here, let's go ahead and walk your arms, both of them, off to the side. Kind of straighten your spine as much as you can. Release into it a little bit. Let's just release and relax into that side of our body first. Take a couple breaths here. And then let's slowly raise your arm up in the air, coming into a side stretch, bend, twist. And take a few more breaths here, trying to stack your shoulders as much as possible. And then we'll lower that hand back down again and find our way into the middle of our forward fold. And let's roll up one vertebrae at a time. Awesome. And then once again, hinging at the hips. Forward fold, all the way down. And let's walk our hands off to the other side this time. Over here, let's take a few breaths, getting just our chest closer to our thigh, hinging at the hips. This is the hip opener part that I was talking about. And then again, once from here, let's raise your arm up in the air, stacking the shoulders as much as possible, and take a few more breaths here. And we'll drop that hand down again and find our way back into the middle one more time. And then once again, let's roll up one vertebrae at a time. Alright, and let's come into a goddess pose. If you don't want to do a goddess pose, you can still do the forward fold and just release and relax. But from here, so our feet are kind of pointed out a little bit to the side. Our knees want to go in the same direction as our toes do. As we slowly lower down, we're trying to get our thighs as parallel to the mat as possible, while still not trying to keep our knee from going over our toes. We just want to point in the same direction. And then so here, let's tuck that tailbone under, straighten our spine up a little bit. And then take a few breaths, engaging the core, bringing our arms up towards the sky, as if we're holding the ceiling. We'll take a few more breaths here, holding the ceiling in your goddess pose. Perfect, and let's bring our hands back down towards our thighs, our hips, straightening our knees, and one more time, let's hinge at the hips and forward fold. Unless you were down here the whole time anyways. Alright, with a rounded spine, let's come in for maybe a half lift, straightening that spine up. And once again, we'll release and relax. Let's do one more half lift. And then release. And we'll roll up one vertebrae at a time, coming to standing. Perfect. And then stepping back to the back of our mat. Let's go ahead and roll down our bodies and walk out to a plank. We don't need to do a chaturanga, we don't need to do a flow because we just did a bunch of stuff. Alright, let's come into a down dog though. We're moving on to the next peak poses. So sweep your right leg through, coming in between our hands. We'll lower that back knee down and uncurl that toe. And then let's lift our arms up towards the sky, coming into a slight back bend. So let's keep that knee stacked over that ankle. You should be feeling that stretch in your thigh. Back of your thigh here, and a little bit obviously in the back for your back bend. And then we'll place our hands down on the mat, maybe on either side, but mostly this one hand is supposed to be on the inside of that foot, and then we'll go ahead and lift our arm up in the air, trying to stack our shoulders as much as possible, keeping that knee still into that chest. We don't want it going too far. And don't overextend your elbow either, like I do all the time. Let's take a few more breaths here. And then lowering that hand down. Let's go ahead and lift both arms once again back up in the air. And then place them both back on the inside of that foot. And raise your other arm up in the air, coming in for a twist on the other side. Take a few more breaths here. And then lowering that hand down to the mat. One more back bend. And then lowering, bring our hands to our heart center. Let's bring that elbow towards that knee. So your left elbow coming towards your right knee. And try and stack your arms one on top of each other. If you want to go back to that first move again as well, with your hand down, that's completely fine as well. I just find that this gives me a little bit more of a stretch, more of a twist. Perfect, and then we'll come back down, placing our hands on the mat, and now we'll do a flow. So let's go ahead and curl that toe back, lift that knee up, and push back into a plank. So you can push back into a child's pose if you just want to hang out there, or chaturanga down to an up dog. And then push back into a down dog. And then we'll walk our hands all the way to standing, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. And then fanning our arms up. And hinging at the hips, swan diving down into our forward folds. Finding our hands down towards the mat. Let's place our hands on the mat and walk out again into a plank. And then push back into a down dog. Awesome. And then from here, we'll move on to the other side of our body. So let's lift up that left leg and bring that left leg in between our hands. And place that right knee down on the mat and uncurl that back toe. And we'll lift up again, coming into our back bend. So stacking that knee over that ankle still. No hinging anywhere in our spine. It's one straight, not straight, one curved spine. And then placing our hands back down on the mat. Let's come into a twisting pose. So lifting our left arm up in the air, stacking the shoulders as much as possible, keeping those knees still into your chest. We'll take a few more breaths. And then placing that hand back down again, we'll come into another back bend. Back bend. And then placing both hands down on the mat, on the inside of your foot. Coming into a twist on the other side. So lifting up, stacking our shoulders one on top of the other, gazing up towards the ceiling, still having your knees stacked over your ankle, feeling a little stretch going on in your thigh. This is more of a side stretch at this point. And then placing that hand back down again. One more back bend. Got a couple more of those actually. And then placing our hands together into our heart center. Let's bring our right elbow towards our left knee, stacking our elbows one on top of the other. And take a few more breaths here. All right, and then untwisting. And let's come back in for our last back bend. Just 2 breaths here. And then lowering down, and we'll come into our flow again. So curl that toe, lift that knee, push back into a plank, and we'll chaturanga down to an up dog. And then push back to a down dog. Walk your hands all the way to standing, and roll up one vertebrae at a time. And then we'll fan our arms up, and swan dive into a forward fold. And then we'll walk our hands back out again into a plank. And then push back into a down dog. And let's pedal our heels out again here. Just feeling it, getting your broad back and the upper back. Alright, then let's find our way back into a child's pose again. So dropping your knees down towards the mat. Push your hips back over your heels. And reach your arms out in front of you, relaxing your chest into your thigh and your head back down into the mat. Just feel the earth beneath your body. Feel it all. And then from here, let's go ahead and come into a threaded child's pose again. So raising your left arm up in the air, thread that under your right armpit. Bring the side of your face down to the mat. Coming in for a twist. Let's take a few breaths here, just relaxing into this pose. Feeling the earth beneath your body. Taking a few more breaths here. It's a fun pose. And then we'll go ahead and release that arm back out in front of us. Let's raise the other arm up in the air and then thread that underneath our armpit. Bring the side of our face back down to the mat on the other side. And we'll take a few more breaths here, just releasing and relaxing into the mat. And then once again, bring your arm back out in front of you. Alright, we're actually going to come into a locust pose next. So finding your way onto the ground, onto the mat. Let's bring our arms out in front of us and our legs out behind us. And slowly, let's just do the legs first. Lifting the legs up in the air. This takes a lot of back strength. So don't want to go too far with it, just as far as it feels good for you. And then we'll lower that down. And then let's do the upper body. So raising our chest up in the air, our arms coming up in the air, taking a breath or two here, and then lowering back down again. Let's do one more time with just our legs. Raising our legs up in the air, and then lowering them back down again. And just our upper body one more time. Raise, and lower. Now for the full locust pose, let's bring both our back and our forward up. So arms and legs at the same time, here we go. And let's take a few breaths here. Gazing at the front of the room. And lowering it all the way down. All right, coming to a half frog pose next. We're still here, still our whole chest on the ground, our whole hips on the ground. We're gonna go ahead and our left leg comes up and forward. So trying to keep your hips as flat on the ground as possible, which is really hard in this pose. We're really just opening our hip up here. This is a hip opener stretch. All right, so if you're feeling it, it looks simple, but it's, yes. So a few more breaths. And then pushing that back again. Let's go ahead and hip opener on the other side. Bringing our right arm or right leg out towards us. Trying to get our hip down still towards the ground. Definitely a hip opener stretch. Let's take a few more breaths here. Our whole body just relaxed on the ground. And then we'll push back again. Next, let's come into a half bow pose. So grabbing your left leg at the ankle and just pull your leg. Keep that thigh on the ground though for this part, but you're stretching that thigh a lot. All right? And then maybe if you want to come into a full half bow pose, grabbing that ankle and pulling it up and away. Maybe your upper body as well pops up. Half bow. Keep that knee still in line with your hip. You don't want it straying too far. And then lower that down. And let's come in on the other side. Just grab that ankle at first. We're stretching that thigh. All right, stretching that thigh. Taking a couple breaths at first. And then we'll grab our ankle and lift up and away. Our chest as well, up and away. Keeping that knee still in line with the hip. You don't want it straying. And then we'll lower back down again. And let's find our way into a child's pose yet again. All the way back. I find that's a really good opposite of the back bends is our child's pose. Perfect, and let's find a way into a tabletop pose first. We're just coming into a cat pose, honestly. Round that back spine up, round that belly button into your spine, and then find your way back into a tabletop pose. Perfect. All right, and then next, we're gonna come onto our knees. So all the way up, all the way knees, and camel pose is gonna be next. So if you don't wanna do camel pose, your back is tired of all the back bends, you can just stay in child's pose. If you wish to come into camel with me, go ahead. So basically just slowly dropping our hands down towards our heels. Slow, slow, slow. Having one curve on our spine. We're not hinging anywhere on our spine, right? All the way down. Once you're here, just hang out. Have your chest come up towards the sky. Your belly button towards the sky. Your spine comes and rounds in. And taking a couple breaths here. Slowly come up and out of it, and find your way into child's pose again, unless you were here to begin with. Perfect. Let's head into a pigeon pose next, another hip opener stretch. So finding our way into plank first, let's sweep your right leg through, and we're gonna bring our right shin as parallel to the front of the mat as possible. So if you were there for my PIO class earlier, you saw the modified pigeon. This is just a regular pigeon. You can also modify it if you wish. But basically we're trying to get our pelvis down towards the ground now, opening our hip in that direction. So the back knee is down, the top of the foot is flat on the mat, or your back foot flat on the mat. And if this feels good for you, and this is where you want to stay, you can stay right here. If you wish to go down any further, just slowly lower your chest down towards the ground, and release and relax into your pigeon pose. Your shin probably will not stay parallel to the ground, or to the front of the mat, but if it does, great job. So let's take a few more breaths here, just relaxing, getting deeper into the pose with every breath. And let's push back again into a child's pose. No, not child's pose, down dog. So curling that back toe, lifting that back knee up, pushing back into a plank, and then pushing your hips back towards the sky for a downward facing dog. We're gonna pigeon pose on the other side. So sweeping that leg up and through, coming parallel to the front of the mat, dropping that back knee, uncurling that back foot, having the top of that back foot flat on the mat, and then slowly we'll lower down. So only go as far as feels good for you. And then release and relax into this pose. And we'll take a few more breaths here. Just relaxing and releasing. Yep. So this is definitely a hip opener. Pelvis should be somewhere near the ground at this point. So with every breath, you are getting deeper and deeper into this pose, right? Deeper towards the ground, deeper towards the mat. Right, and then we'll go ahead and lift up again. And find our way into a plank pose at first. So toe under, knee up off the ground, push back into a plank. And let's find our way to seated. So into our seated pose, let's bring our legs out in front of us. And then coming into a twist. So let's bring our right foot next to our left thigh and grab that knee with the opposite hand, placing the right hand behind you with a straight spine. And let's take just a few breaths here, really. And with every breath, you want to get deeper in the twist, but make sure your spine is still straight up and down. All right, and then let's bring our torso forward. Let's just come in for our forward fold real quick. So hinging at the hips, reach out for your shins with a flat back, as flat as possible. For your shins, or for your ankles, or for the bottom of your feet. And just reach. Grab and stretch. Awesome, and then come back up again. Let's twist to the other side. So bring that left foot next to your right thigh, grabbing your left knee with your right hand, placing your left hand behind you as you twist. So with a straight spine, twist that torso. And just a few breaths here as well. I think I'm running out of time. Back towards the center again. Let's roll back onto our backs and grab our knees and bring our knees into our chest. And then from here, let's rock maybe back and forth, up and down on our spine. And maybe back and forth as well, from one side to the other. Don't fall over. Alright, let's do one at a time now. So just with your right knee in to your chest here. Let's come into a happy baby. It's a half happy baby. If this feels good for you and you just want to stay here, stay here. If you want to go deeper with it, grab the sole of your foot and kind of bring that knee somewhere into the side of your body or into your armpit. Lift up, and you should just feel it all right here, all in this hip. It's a hip opener stretch for sure. And just a few breaths here. And then we'll lower it down. And we'll grab the other foot, bringing that knee into your chest. And you want to grab under your knee, over the knee, who really knows? And then from here, we'll grab the sole of the foot and bring the knee into the side of your body or into your armpit for half happy baby on the other side. And then lowering that foot down to the ground, find your way into Savasana. So just release and relax onto the ground. And the palms of your hands up on the mat. Your whole back just melting into the mat. Release all of your muscles. Release your mind as well. Why don't you focus your mind on all the poses that we just did during class. All the things that you might need to work on, all the things that you liked about class, all the things that you didn't like about it, anything that you wish would have changed or been different. We'll just lay for a couple minutes, just hang out, relax, release. Alright, so Savasana can go for 5 to 10 minutes, but I'm not going to have you guys sit here on Facebook Live and just watch me lay down for Savasana. So if you feel like that was a great Savasana, you can sit up and be good to go. Namaste. Thank you so much for doing yoga with me. If you wish to do Savasana for longer, I would suggest laying down for a good 5 to 10 minutes and just hang out and relax into that pose. Alright, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys later in the next class.